Who knew Kiely Rodni had a song on SoundCloud? Internet sleuths found her song. It's under the name Kiely N. We know her mom goes by Lindsay Neiman, but I just discovered that Kiely had this song, and it's aptly titled Far Away, featuring Crepe. Who knows what Kiely could have been if her 16 years on this earth weren't cut short. She's really talented. I just had my entire family listen to this song to try and help me out to hear her lyrics. We're going to talk about this song. We're going to talk about how a family member talks about the rest of Kiely's family being pretty pissed off over that MacBook finding at the bottom of Prosser Creek Reservoir. We're going to talk about how the family is kind of split, like I am, on the decision of whether or not it was an accident or foul play. We're going to speak of the possibility of Kiely being asleep in her hatchback in the Honda CR-V. And I can't let go of the words I heard, senior prank. Let's speak about all of that and more, and we will close it out with the song that Kiely's mom sang for her at her celebration of life.
Won't you lay your head upon your mother's breast?
What she left in, what she left out, what lyrics she changed, and talk about potentially why. First up, maybe you guys will be able to hear what I heard in this Far Away song. Kiely's voice sounds so beautiful, but it's really, really low. You can hear the rapper and his parts, but I really wanted to hear Kiely's voice, and I wanted to hear every single lyric. This is what I got. You listen with headphones, tell me what you get. I began to wonder, did you ever give an F about me? Because if you start to look around, and that part I can't really hear, I can't get back the memories, something about the rest of the story, 2 times a year, grinding, maybe not. She might be saying 2 times a year, I'm crying, sorry, but I cannot make it stop. You'll notice on SoundCloud that Jagger wrote Kiely a comment. You know, some other people wrote, good-ish, Kay, sounds so great, you're amazing. And Jagger chimed in and said, I love you. This song apparently was posted 1 year ago. I don't see an exact date. I guess SoundCloud doesn't give you an exact date, so I'm going to assume this song must have been uploaded around September 2021. Maybe Kiely had just turned 16 when this song was created. That's why I really wanted to know what she's saying. Leave comments below, please, if you can hear something different, because I think it's important to know her mind state, her relationships, her loves. Every little thing can come into play when you're talking about a case like this. And who knew that Kiely's mom, Lindsay, could sing so well also, as her mom sang I Bid You Good Night, the Christian's Goodnight song, authored by Sarah Dudney, but popularized by the Grateful Dead. I know a lot of people have been commenting about the sort of hippie culture that Kiely's mom represents. So it's no wonder she would have chosen a song popularized by the Grateful Dead. We will listen to that powerful rendition that Lindsay sang with her powerful voice. I didn't know who that was singing. I was like, who is that singing about Jesus? But now that we have better close-up video, we know it was Kiely's mom, Lindsay, and Tony was standing there, and it sounds like maybe the teenagers, somebody chimed in on certain choruses, on certain parts of the chorus, but Lindsay sang that song at Kiely's celebration of life, and you'll hear it at the end of the video. You will hear how Lindsay changed certain lyrics to rightly say, lay down my dear daughter instead of brother, lay down and take your rest. More troubling to me as a Christian was Lindsay's choice to change the words, won't you lay your head upon your Savior's breast, to your mother's breast. Instead of laying your head on your Savior's breast, it was lay your head on your mother's breast. So that part was a little, it kind of reminded me of listening to, you know, Jay-Z and Drake and another one, DJ Khaled, in that song, God Did. Of course, when you get to Jay-Z's part, you know, every other guy on the song is like, God did it. And you get to Jay-Z's part, and of course he's like, Hove did, because his nickname is Hove, Jehovah, God of rap. And it's almost like replacing yourself for God. And I felt the choice to tell Kiely, "Won't you lay your head upon your mother's breast instead of your Savior's breast," was telling to me. But at least Lindsay left in the part that proclaims, "I love you, but Jesus loves you the best." Even if the rjg.com website seems to have removed Jesus's name. Maybe it was just a blip in the video, but I found it really telling when it got to the part, "I love you, but Jesus loves you the best." The Jesus part was removed. You guys can check it all out yourselves, but in the meantime, let's talk about Kiely's family member and what they are revealing about a rift in the family between those who believe that Kiely may have been a victim of foul play versus those who believe it was purely accidental. Now, we're hearing rumors about Kiely's mom, Lindsay Neiman, perhaps changing some account passwords maybe to lock out her own dad. We don't know if that's true, but we did see Kiely's grandfather, David Robertson, sitting by himself on the shores of Prosser Creek Reservoir, refusing to leave until they removed his lovely granddaughter from the water. Now, we know Adventures with Purpose showed how Kiely's dad, Daniel Rodney, was too overcome with emotion and, just shock and anger. He was too overcome to remain there and see his daughter in that state. He didn't want to remember her that way. But I wonder, where was Kiely's mom? Would it have been too much for her as well? One couldn't blame the parents if they chose not to endure such a sight. I'm assuming by that point, Kiely's granddad must have called Lindsay to say they found Kiely. Someone had to have told her, personally again by then. And Lindsay, she could have come rushing over there, I'm sure, like Daniel did, Kiely's dad, but I wouldn't blame her. I think anyone wouldn't blame her for not wanting to see such a sight. Let's speak about everything this verified family member told a Facebook group. It was September 7th, 2022, when a verified family member of Kiely Rodni posted the following to a Kiely Rodni case discussion Facebook page. And the administrator of this page is great. They have verified that this person is a relative of Kiely. The person wrote, "Hello, sleuths. I know some people think it's suspicious to post anonymously, but I'm related to the family, and it would hurt them to know I have suspicions they do not. I've followed the case closely and seen nothing but red flags, especially after the sketchy teen interviews and the AWP video. Many of you know that's not the same for the community and family members, which makes any discussion very difficult." I see what they mean. I feel like today I'm 50-50 split down the middle. It could go foul play, it could go accident. And unfortunately, some people are just bumping heads so much about this. Instead of just hearing each other out and listening to each point of view, some people are thinking, "How dare you say it's foul play? How dare you accuse these teenagers or any of Kiely's friends or anyone?" Others are saying, "It's purely foul play. How could you be so naive?" But the family member went on to say, "I have a feeling it's a woman, so I'm just going to assume it's a woman." She wrote, "I have a question though. I've seen many people ask for proof that this is foul play, but I've seen very little proving it's an accident. Being young and drunk and then ending up in the reservoir isn't proof, it's circumstantial. Can anyone offer more substantial evidence that shows it was accidental? Thanks, everyone." I think this gives us great insight into the rift that could be going on within the family. We know Kiely's parents aren't together anymore, but unlike in the Gabby Petito case, where we saw her stepmom, her stepdad, her bio mom and dad all there as a foursome, a united front, doing interviews together. No matter how they got along, they came together for Gabby. But it appears the same is not happening here for Kiely. It seems like there's a bunch of divisions, and it flowed into how the notification process happened and so much other stuff. But I'm glad this family member is voicing their concerns, and I don't blame them for being afraid of Lindsay finding out who they are. In fact, you'll read a little bit further that a comment identifying this person was removed. Because I hear, I don't know if it's true, but I hear that Lindsay Neiman has been blocking people, her friends. You know how she wrote that alleged statement, just kind of dogging out Adventures with Purpose? I think some of her friends may have tried to tell her, Lindsay, maybe a different viewpoint, and allegedly Lindsay blocked them. So I don't know if all that's true, but if it is, I don't blame this person for not wanting Lindsay to find out who they are. But one person replied, this family member got a few replies and they replied back. One person said, I do not think accident. However, if it were my family, an accident would be much easier to take. I am sure the family is going through a lot and have a lot of mixed emotions. Kiely's family member wrote back, very, very true. It's why it's so difficult to even speak about other ideas. They almost just want the entire case to be over, and unfortunately only 1 or 2 agencies are still working on the case. I want justice, and I'm heartbroken the truth may never come out. Thank you for the reply. It's so confusing right now. So this is good. Even though this family member believes it could lean towards foul play, at least they're willing to look at the other side and they're saying, okay, show me the proof that it was an accident. They're keeping an open mind. Whereas unfortunately, it's weird how anyone who suggests foul play seems like, I don't know, maybe they become an enemy of the family, because that's the way maybe the nuclear family of Kiely is leaning. I'm not sure, but it's kind of strange to me, and we'll talk about it more, just how much Lindsay is defending law enforcement and the local community, almost more than she's defending the truth. Unless she just already knows the truth, unless they've given her preliminary autopsy reports, and that's why she's so staunchly in the camp of, we got this, find another hobby, do something else. But we're also going to talk about why Lindsay is kind of anti-social media. So again, one comment that reportedly contained too much identifying information was removed, unfortunately before I could get a screenshot, but another person asked, do both sides of the family think it was an accident? So again, that proves what a great Facebook administrator this is. She removed the comment. She wanted to protect Kiely's family member. Whether or not both sides of the family think it's an accident, the family member answered yes. But I admit, there's a little too much trust in law enforcement, even with so little information. After Check It TV's findings, I spoke to a family member and they were pretty pissed off. Hopefully this spurs some action and people will start asking questions again. So this makes sense. We saw how much Lindsay has been defending all law enforcement people that were sitting behind her at that town hall meeting. And that's great. I mean, as a mom, you want to defend police. I'm sure a lot of them were just doing their best. Even though we're going to talk about this family member thinking the investigation is bungled, in certain aspects, I agree with her, but you don't want to piss off the cops who are looking for your daughter. So I understand why Lindsay would really back them and compliment them, because I'm sure a lot of them work so hard, risk their lives searching for Kiely. But when Check It TV, the other YouTuber who he dove down like free diving and found Kiely's MacBook and other belongings, when he was able to just find that on the bottom of Prosser Creek Reservoir, and he had to beg the community out here, not the local, not just the Truckee community, but others, please call the cops so they can come get this stuff. I've been calling them, I've been waiting, they're not going to show up. Only social media pressure, by the grace of God, made them come over and collect Kiely's things that would have just laid there. And how long would Kiely have laid, unfortunately, in that Honda CR-V tomb at the bottom of Prosser Creek unless AWP showed up? So that's one thing that opened the eyes. Check It TV's findings opened the eyes of some of Kiely's family members to be pissed off enough to perhaps realize, well, even though law enforcement might be telling us one thing, maybe it's not true. Maybe they aren't really sweeping the bottom of Prosser after they pulled her car out, after they rolled it and pulled it out and didn't wrap it first and made AWP get out of there and everything. Another person commented, I don't think there's any proof it's accidental, honestly. And even if toxicology comes back and she had drugs and alcohol in her system, how will that prove she's the one who drove herself into the water? I have no idea how law enforcement is going to unravel, dissect, and assess all of this. I honestly don't see how it can be proven one way or the other, because even if she has water in her lungs, it could still be foul play, because it could mean she was unconscious but presumed to be passed and then disposed of in the water while still alive. Doesn't necessarily mean she drove in breathing and then couldn't get out. The family, I'm sure, knows more than we do, if only a little bit. I know they don't tell everything, because I've lost a family member too, but they do tell some things. This person concluded, I just don't get how family could not suspect foul play. Kiely's family member answered, agree. From what I was told, which may not be the full story, some information has been released, but not all. I do believe she was asleep in the hatchback, but it's definitely not something I can share with anyone yet. So that blew my mind. This family member of Kiely's is saying, I do believe she was asleep in the hatchback. Now, whoa. I don't know if that person has insider information, if it's just her speculation, or if Kiely was really asleep in the hatchback. But this kind of goes in line with what I heard the other day, so much so that I had to write it down. I've really been practicing writing down the things I believe God speaks to me, and I heard clear as day, senior prank, the other day. And it's something I hadn't seen any videos about this case being compared to a senior prank. I don't think I've heard any theories of anyone else saying, could this have been a senior prank? We know it was a farewell party to the seniors, and part of me is thinking, once I heard those two words, I started just Googling and YouTubing senior pranks, and I've never really seen, I've seen them do weird stuff with cars. Seniors in high school like to do crazy things, but they usually do it at the end of the year in school. Like they might park their cars all crazy, or they might put shaving cream and paper everywhere, or stuff like that. But what if they were still in that senior prank mode, and this family member saying, I believe she was asleep in the hatchback? Now we know Kiely's CRV was allegedly the spot for people to come and get drinks and stuff. So what if people were coming and getting drinks out of her hatchback? I don't know, what if it was the spot? And what if Kiely was just so inebriated? What if she just passed out in the hatchback? Back there, she was a teeny girl, she could fit back there. What if she just needed a quick nap? So I'm thinking senior prank, okay. What if someone closed her in the hatchback, and did that person just want to drive and move her car to the beach? So when she woke up, she'd be like, whoa, how'd I get here? Or did someone accidentally drive her into the water? Is that why the passenger front side window was busted out? There's so many roads I could go down when you're thinking foul play in that respect. But that really made me think, whoa, maybe the word senior prank will play into this. Maybe it's something I really heard from God that's telling me this was a senior prank. I've been thinking about this case and praying for the truth so much, and I know God has helped me before, like in the Suzanne Morphew case. Even before we knew anything about that case, I could hear clear as day God told me she was abused. She was abused. I heard those 3 words, and before any of the DV stuff and all the other stuff came out, so I knew, wow, it wasn't this perfect marriage and this perfect thing that social media tried to paint it to be. Let's continue what other commentators are saying to Kiely's family member. Someone else wrote, nothing leads to accident. She was in the back and windows were down when a car went in the water. I think she was smart enough and able to get out if she accidentally drove into the water. Also, the sighting of her car on Saturday morning with someone questioning the tow truck driver on how to properly secure a seatbelt to a belt. I'm very, very sorry for the loss of your family member. Thank you so much for being brave and making this post. Please know that all of us send our love, and we are fighting for justice for your beautiful, sweet, and talented Kiely. I wish I could give you the biggest hug right now. This makes all the late nights and digging so worth it. I hope anything we have found helps this case. So the family member answered, thank you for your kind words. I'm new to the true crime sphere. What a way to start. It helps to know there are others out there digging for clues and reading between the lines. I'm still so confused about tow truck driver. I still think it was someone that looked like Kiely and she was placed somewhere else or in the back, I wish I could see the footage or at least the AWP interview. Hopefully we'll see one of those soon. Maybe we will, depending on how this case goes and, you know, where and how much footage can be released. I tell you, when you hear the tow truck driver's testimony, and we don't know if the Honda CR-V, I'm assuming it was confirmed to be Kiely's. I don't remember hearing that in the portions of his interview that were released, but if all that was definitely Kiely's Honda CR-V, then yeah, I would lean way more towards foul play than accident. So another person wrote, I hope this private investigator the family hired isn't causing too much trouble. He is making rumors swirl on Twitter as of right now that CHP is wrapping up the case. I really hope that's not the case and he's just running his mouth with info he knows nothing about. Today, her belongings being found at Prosser by a citizen just searching wasn't okay. It wasn't properly investigated from the beginning. That makes me so upset. I'm trying hard to reach out to all news agencies and justice warriors. Justice for Kiely, and thank you for your reply. So it's true, thankfully, when Check It TV found Kiely's belongings, and they've been confirmed reportedly to definitely be Kiely's MacBook and other items. I don't know all the other items, but at least the New York Post and The Sun are picking up those findings. It really, the proof is in the pudding. It just shows the ineptitude of law enforcement in that respect. I mean, no matter what is said, I'm not taking anything away from them, but the proof is in the pudding. Again, AWP found Kiely and her car and her CR-V, and Check It TV found her belongings. And even another woman, I believe, found the Truly cans. So people are finding stuff. But the family member answered, we were all absolutely outraged. I'm sorry to say it, but law enforcement has bumbled this investigation from the start. It took YouTubers and social media to recover Kiely and her belongings. While I don't trust the PI, he's wildly unprofessional and a little bitter, but yes, he's close to the family, and yes, he did find some of her belongings. This whole case is unreal. So I'm not really sure what the PI found there. But I agree with that family member. I mean, YouTubers found Kiely and her stuff. Another person stated, the cops are hiding something. It's sad that family is believing it can be an accident. Also, it's not black and white. On September 8th, 2022, the family member answered, until today, it was radio silence from law enforcement. It's been frustrating. So it's very understandable everyone wants to accept it as an accident and let it go. After the findings today, it's clear there are a lot of people who aren't going to let this go until we have answers. And that's true. Why wouldn't Kiely's mom just say, yes, I back law enforcement and I just want the truth? Not an either or type of thing. Not how dare anyone question them. Another person wrote, I hope the family realizes there aren't thousands of people fighting for Kiely because we're bored and have nothing better to do. Not many cases get this much heart, blood, sweat, and tears from random people, strangers. Kiely does because it screams foul play. And when we don't see her family screaming at the top of their lungs, justice for Kiely, it's heartbreaking. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope your voice will be heard within the family. Kiely deserves a thorough and honest investigation. Thank you. That's so true. A lot of people just see so derisively. They refer to us as YouTubers or those social media sleuths. They've got to realize the tide is changing. AWP is not just some YouTuber, you know, whatever you think of that, or some blogger like they used to call us derisively, or whatever, vlogger, blogger, you know, all these terms that have this undercurrent of just, oh, they're just some person sitting in their basement bored with nothing better to do. That's the wrong way to think. If you don't know by now that Red, White, and Bethune, an amazing YouTube channel, freaking found Gabby Petito, the location, because they pulled their footage and they saw the van in a certain point where Brian Laundrie must have parked it, and he disposed of Gabby Petito within yards away. If not for the YouTube creator Red, White, and Bethune's footage, Gabby Petito may not have been found. So, don't talk to me about what these YouTubers are doing. There are a lot who are researching here, and some are actually out there, boots on the ground, and all of it collectively can become this great way to solve cases. But unfortunately, some, not all mainstream reporters, but some mainstream reporters feel very threatened by the wave of YouTubers. And so you can tell at the press conferences, the way the questions they ask, how much of a role is social media messing up this case? They ask stuff like that when we should all work together. The smart ones, Lauren Scharf, I love that reporter out in Colorado, brilliant. She knows how to work with social media to help bring her stories to life, bring the truth to life, as opposed to the ones who feel threatened. So I'm glad the family member replied and said, thank you for that. I admit posting in the group made me nervous. Everyone is kind in this group, but I've seen other comments around. I will continue pushing for the truth no matter what. I would regret anything else. Thank you for the support. Another person said they were sorry for the family's loss. This wasn't an accident, they wrote. I hope that it's proven and the persons who did this are fully prosecuted. The family member replied, I don't think it was an accident either, and whoever is responsible will have the entire world to answer to. Even if it turns out it was an accident, I'm willing to accept that and hopefully put our trust in what comes out. We can only pray for the truth to come out. If you feel like law enforcement has lied and stood up in pressers and not told us the full truth, it's kind of hard to put our trust in, okay, you guys will come back and tell us the truth. But hopefully, everybody isn't corrupt. Some people are working their hearts out, and hopefully the medical examiner's findings and everything will tell us whatever that truth is. Yet another individual asked, can you share what the family thinks happened? I am making a comprehensive spreadsheet with everything I know for both outcomes, accident and foul play. I will ask others to help crowdsource. Feel free to send me a DM or I can go through the mods to share it with you. The family member replied, oh my goodness, that's exactly what I've been hoping someone would do. That's amazing and I'm so very grateful. I've thought about what some of you have said about watching this case because no one directly involved will demand justice. It keeps me going, seeing the digging, keeps me motivated to watch videos and check the groups. It will be a hard day today, but I'll certainly post an update. Thank you, and I know together we can all uncover the truth. I know it. One person wrote, there isn't any, and that's the problem. There are so many red flags that I cannot understand how every single member of the family isn't at the police station demanding action. It's very confusing and sad to me. I understand it's easier to justify an accident, taking this beautiful girl, than it is foul play, but Kiely deserves every possible effort to verify 100% what happened. A different individual replied to that comment, writing, I noticed this happens a lot. I also noticed it with the Chris Watts case and the Ruchek family. Some people, especially during a tragedy, put 100% trust in law enforcement, but unfortunately, in the world we live in, law enforcement a lot of times either don't do their jobs properly, or in some cases there is corruption. Look how many school shootings that law enforcement fail to do their jobs that they have been trained and prepared for. The family member replied, could not agree with you more. Today's findings prove that, and they had a sad tear emoji. One person stated, I cannot understand how a random person just went to Prosser today and found her personal items still in the reservoir. This has been such a sloppy investigation. The family member replied, it took YouTubers and social media to bring Kiely and her belongings home. We can't even believe it. YouTube and social media can be toxic, but I'm so grateful for their passion and persistence. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe as this woman is going to talk about Lindsay's perhaps mistrust of social media, I'm thinking, maybe Lindsay, she doesn't really watch a lot of social media. In some cases, it's great. If she's just, catching videos with nearly 500,000 views talking about oh, Kiely Rodni might not have even been a real person. Well, heck yeah, I can see why she would have a bad view of YouTubers and why she would have a bad view of social media as a whole and not trust it. One woman commented, I'm just surprised, given everything that the family was saying up until they found her car, that it's been so easy for them to believe it was an accident. The only thing that I can imagine is that the grief of losing her makes believing it was an accident easier than trying to dig deeper. I remember when we lost my uncle, there was opportunities to sue the state due to the accident, but my family never did due to his wife being so deeply grief-stricken, and now, almost 20 years later, she wishes she had. Anyway, I do hope Kiely gets justice, and if law enforcement has some evidence or witnesses that have not been made public that prove it to be an accident, I have not seen it yet, but I do believe that it was intended to look accidental and possibly, but there was foul play. I can't see how there couldn't be with everything so far. I wish the family all the peace. Mom, dad, and grandparents, I'll be dancing for Kiely, a dove and a peace sign. The family member replied, I'm so sorry for your loss. 20 years means nothing when regret lingers every day. Thank you for sharing. I'm more worried about her brother. Honestly, if they do close the case, I will hire my own private investigator. I am so glad that family member said that. We know Kiely does have a young brother. Oh, I can't imagine. I just pray for God's peace, unsurpassable comfort all over that little boy in Christ, because I can't imagine how confused he would be. And he's probably, maybe over social media. I know they don't have a lot of good reception out there, perhaps, but I'm glad this family member will hire their own PI to dig for answers, just to make sure if they come back and say it's accidental, that it's truly accidental. So wrapping up the rest of the comments, and one woman who's really angry at Kiely's mom, but a different woman asked, are there any previous incidents where Kiely was drunk or on drugs? She said she was designated driver and apparently a smart girl. I'm leaning towards jealousy. Someone messed her up and she probably OD'd. The family member replied, she did drink now and then, and everyone smokes in Truckee, but she's never been blackout drunk or anything like that. It's the recklessness that's suspicious to me. I understand there's a first time for everything, but she's so open with her mom that Lindsay picked her up from parties in the past. I also believe it was an OD. The only way she would get into her car drunk is if someone put her there. So that's interesting information. Kiely was open enough with her mom, Lindsay, she wouldn't have to hide anything. She was texting her already, so obviously she could have said, Mom, I'm scared, I can't drive. Please come get me. 12 miles away, I'm sure Lindsay would have jumped in the car and gotten her daughter or said, stay there or whatever, had someone come get her. And you know how they said at this party, Mag said there were drugs there that weren't typical. So the recklessness is what makes this family member suspicious. Kiely would not have been this reckless normally. And when there's a change in pattern, a change in behavior, a change in attitude, a person does something out of character, that's where the suspicions of foul play come in. So did Kiely have something she'd never taken before? Did it give her the bravado to just drive? And that's where my mind goes when, in terms of accidental death, if Kiely had something she wasn't used to and still got the bravado, like, I can do it, I can drive home, and just drove straight. If you watch this one YouTuber, if I can find her video, I'll link it. She went there at night, and you can easily see, even though it is a bumpy road, you can see how, a bumpy person out of their mind, cross-faded or whatever, would have driven perhaps straight into the creek without really seeing it coming up. And then confused, clawing her way into the back. And that's the stuff of nightmares. I've honestly been praying. I hope Kiely, since she is already gone, I hope she did OD. Not that I want it to be a foul play. I just don't want to ever think of Kiely trying to claw her way out of that CRV. Part of me wishes she had just OD'd and passed, and, if someone did get scared and push her in the lake, push her in the creek, of course they will have to pay the consequences of doing that, but that's almost, maybe in my mind, a more peaceful way to go than thinking of trying to claw your way out of a car. But anyway, one person was pretty angry towards Kiely's mom. She wrote emphatically, "I really feel that this case is going to be swept under the rug. It pisses me off that someone is getting away with murder. I can't even begin to explain all the emotions I'm feeling for Kiely. I want to shake the ish out of her mom. Tell her to wake the F up and fight for her daughter." Now that's like, whoa. But the family member replied, "Me too, but our family is super small, barely any cousins, and several only children. We've never dealt with this level of tragedy and national coverage. There's barely Wi-Fi up there, so none of the family is super social media savvy. It's sort of why Lindsay is so untrusting of social media and YouTubers. It's been hard. I'm heading up there today for the memorial and private family event. I'll try to share an update if I can." So this person must have gone to the celebration of life, and I'm not sure what went on with the private family event. I didn't see many more updates from the family member except what I'll read to this response. One woman wrote, "Definitely need to put more pressure and demand solid evidence here. Demand honest answers. Demand justice for their daughter, sister, and granddaughter. Not just thank this police department nicely for all their hard work and time. This passive way of dealing with them is making them comfortable with the lack of effort they are providing." Like, whoa, way harsh, Ty, huh? Seeing all her things pulled out of that lake when they were right there and just had to sweep the bottom and net the windows would have been my last straw. They were careless in finding her, careless in preserving her and her personal items after AWP came in and did their job. That's enough to prove to me they are being careless in this entire investigation then. The family member replied, "Law enforcement has bumbled this case over and over, and I'm sick myself with how much they just don't care right now. It took massive amounts of social media attention to get law enforcement on the scene with Check It TV. That was thanks to all of you, and it was inspiring to the power of people, force the people, empowered to do something. All of you brought AWP and they brought her home. Regardless of how the family felt about that, I'm eternally grateful. Purple heart." So it's nice to see at least one family member thanking AWP in this way. I mean, I'm sure Kiely's grandpa and dad did as well. Kiely's mom said about Kiely, she knew the freedom of travel and the helplessness of being trapped at home. So if you read that article over there from RGP, it talked about how Kiely had traveled as young as 2 and all these places she's been, like maybe Argentina, Iceland for sure. You can read the article. So that's when her mom talked about she knew the freedom of travel and the helplessness of being trapped at home. So Kiely must have loved to travel. So we'll listen to this at the end of the service where Lindsay sang a version of I Bid You Good Night, an 1871 hymn written by Sarah Dudney and later turned into the popular song by the Grateful Dead. Let's listen to that now, but first I want to close with command the blessing. Those are the 3 words I heard this morning upon waking. Sometimes God really speaks to us in our dreams, and upon waking in that alpha state of sleep, they call it, I heard command the blessing. So I had to look it up. Sometimes you don't know if it's like, is that really a verse or what? Command the blessing. It's within Deuteronomy 28, 7 through 14. The Lord will cause the enemies who rise up against you to be defeated before you. They will come out against you 1 way, but flee before you 7 ways. The Lord will command the blessing upon you in your storehouses and in all that you undertake. He will bless you in the land which the Lord your God gives you. The Lord will establish you as a people holy and set apart to himself, just as he has sworn to you, if you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk That is, live your life each and every day in His ways. So all the peoples of the earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they will be afraid of you. The Lord will give you great prosperity in the offspring of your body, and in the offspring of your livestock, and the produce of your ground, in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give you. The Lord will open for you His good treasure house, the heavens, to give rain in your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. And you will lend to many nations, but you will not borrow. The Lord will make you the head, leader and not the tail, follower, and you will be above only, and you will not be beneath. If you listen and pay attention to the commandments of the Lord your God, which I am commanding you today, to observe them carefully. Do not turn aside from any of the words which I am commanding you today, to the right or the left, to follow and serve other gods. So we serve Him. He commands the blessing. Before I close, I just want to show you this one thing that's going around. And this is why sometimes stuff can get conflated in a way that it shouldn't, and why people may think, oh, it was foul play. The tow truck driver really may have seen Kiely in her car, or some other girl pretending to be Kiely or not. We'll learn that eventually. But folks were digging through the Nevada County Police log, and if you see here, there are events and then comments. One event took place at Prosser on August 23rd, 2 days after Kiely's body and her CRV were found, but that event belongs to the comments below it. I've already seen people conflate that event at Prosser with the comments above it, which belong to Nevada County Suspicious Circumstance, August 23rd, 4:42 p.m., not 4:37 p.m. This is what's going around. Reporting party reporting that her ex-boyfriend has been acting very sus, possibly involved in homicides. Reporting party stating they live in Reno, but local jurisdiction is not listening to her. One location the reporting party has is possibly in Beat 1 or Placer. Reporting party advised she would like to speak to a detective regarding the reported issues. So, we don't know who this is, but some people are thinking, oh no, it's related to Prosser, when it isn't. That's the event below it. And then they say, oh, they live in Reno. Could this be related to Jagger? But Jagger only spoke about him and Kiely liking to spend time in Reno, not living there. And he doesn't even reportedly live in Napa, even though that's what's been said by Sammy and others. Jagger reportedly lives in another suburb, which I won't name and I can't remember anyway, which is good because I don't want to dox him. He doesn't even live in Napa. So that's the kind of thing that sometimes leads people astray. And one last thing, if you see here at Kiely's celebration of life, they had on the table Kiely stories. We've been hearing of our friends and family having unusual interactions with animals since Kiely's passing. If you'd like to share an animal story, we invite you to do so in this journal. If you have a non-animal story you'd like to share, come on it. Maybe they meant come on and write it. There's pages for everyone. They probably meant come on in. There's pages for everyone. So I think that's all the news I've really been wanting to bring you guys today, as we still wait to figure out what the heck is happening in Kiely's case. At this point, I'm really just straight on the fence. I'll admit it. I could go foul play. I totally believe that. I would believe it's an accident. And hopefully in all ways due diligence is being done. And let's listen to I Bid You Good Night, sung beautifully, powerfully, and deeply by Lindsay's mom as Tony, her stepdad, stands by her side and others join in. As always, thank you so much for watching. Take care.
And I bid you good night, good night. Good night. Lay down, my dear daughter. Lay down and take your rest. Won't you lay your head upon your mother's breast? I love best, and I bid you good night. Good night, good night, and I bid you good night, good night, good night.